Welcome to the Circle of Veritas, a Candela Obscura Real Play podcast by the Creative Play and Podcast Network. In the gaslit streets of Newfair, darkness stirs and ancient horrors awaken. Join our circle of investigators as they confront the supernatural, uncover secrets, and fight to protect the fragile veil of reality. Stay vigilant. Shadows watch.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and rpgpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim here.
And Kelly.
And because our Circle of Veritas crew didn't get together this last weekend, we've got to record something Candela Obscura related. So we're going to do a review of Candela Obscura in 20 minutes or less. You giggle because you know it's going to be more like 30 minutes. So first off, what is Candela Obscura?
Well, it's basically a kind of gothic horror thing, RPG. I would say, what if Peaky Blinders met Call of Cthulhu and then joined a magical secret society?
Wow.
It's got cults, it's got magic, it's got darkness, it's got horror, it's got gothic, it's a bit steampunk, it's a bit, crazy.
Got industrial Victoriana with steampunk with Warehouse 13.
Yeah. And insanity is probable, but not as likely as, say, Call of Cthulhu.
See, that's one thing I do love with Candela Obscura is you don't literally have to worry about going mad every session. You can completely go mad, but it's going to take a session or two to build up to that level. Unless you roll really poorly.
But if you're a fan of horror, and you can definitely, you can like heighten you can lean in on horror, you could lean in on like Victoriana-ish, you could lean in on, it has all of it, but it is, I would still say it is a gothic, dark RPG.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my character is like bright and bubbly, but the darkness is already affecting her.
Mm-hmm.
She's not as bright as bubbly as she used to be.
And another aspect I like about the setting is there's also that post-World War feel, because it is a few years after a great super weapon was detonated in the setting.
Yeah, but it more like World War One, where they called it the Great War. But then you throw in what the big one from World War Two, but it's still more focused, or it seems more in line with the First World War. That feel.
As if World War One was ended by an atomic bomb of some kind of mystical origins.
Yeah, magical, dark,
Candela Obscura is produced by Darrington Press. They do another RPG we like, which is Daggerheart, as well as
a few of you may have heard of that.
Have heard of Daggerheart. Yeah, it's a little RPG book.
Yeah, came out relatively recently. You may have heard of it.
And I will throw it out there, if you're interested in fun steampunk apparel, if you've not watched Darrington Press's Candela Obscura playthroughs on YouTube, the entire cast dresses up in steampunk.
Ooh, no, I did not know that.
Yeah, you may want to give that a watch just for the costumes alone.
Yes.
So that one's
No
for you
me.
Critical Role fans out there.
Uh-huh. I am a fan of Victoriana steampunk.
And this definitely has that cosmic horror meets occult noir mixed with the, oh, look, are we going to be hopeful? Are we going to be tragic? Are we going to be grim and dark? Because one thing I like to throw folks out, if you like Penny Dreadful, Call of Cthulhu, or Blades in the Dark, not only is this an RPG that's super quick to make your character sheets because your GM will throw out the player books, which are 2-page sheets for your character sheet that contain everything you need to start the game, but it's one of those of you don't have to worry about dying at every shot. You may in
Yeah.
fact die. There's consequences you can choose, but usually you will pick your poison when you take too much damage, whether it's a mental scar or a corruption scar because tentacles, or
Yeah.
even if it's just a body scar of an actual crippled limb.
Yeah, because I mean, the setting, they're just coming. I mean, the Great War was like what, 5 years ago, or I mean, well,
hmm
you can
It was
determine
it was
how,
a handful
you
of
know,
years ago.
but it wasn't that so that's still really fresh. The horrors of war, but then on top of it, you have, while everybody does their best trying to ignore it, there's this dark kind of energy in the
hmm
city. And whether, and it all depends on how your GM plays it too and stuff,
hmm
but it creates an atmosphere. So where it's dark and disturbing,
hmm
but it doesn't, it's not like overt, but then depending on what you're doing, your characters are doing, and where they're going, they may bleed more into it. And I use that
hmm
word specifically because bleed is the term for the badness, the
The
mystical badness,
corruptioniness.
the corruption.
Mhm,
So, as more of that corruption bleeds out, the weirder and darker shit gets.
yeah, and I do love, like I've mentioned Warehouse 13. I love the fact that in that show they had the little baggies to sterilize
Yeah,
the magical effects, and that totally is a great way of explaining how bleed works. Because it could just be,
bleed containers. Yeah.
yeah, that this was just something that was exposed to something else, and now it's a funky magic thing, which gives
Yeah.
the story first aspect of Candela Obscura a big boost. Because one thing with the game mechanics is it's more narrative than mechanical. It's
Hmm.
a very simple game mechanic. You have pips on your character sheet, just like a lot of dice pool games like Vampire the Masquerade is a close one like that, and that's how many d6 you roll. However, there is the gilded dice, and each playbook has a special skill that they are the best at, which gives them a gilded dice, which is an extra d6, where you can
Hmm.
choose to use that dice whether it succeed or fail, instead of the other dice to regain some of your resources.
Yeah. And uh based on what your the other groups have, the other people in your group, they can lend you a die,
hmm
basically.
Yeah, it's
They
great
can.
player agency because, like, not only when you roll the dice, you have more than just success or fail. You've got fail, mixed success, full success, and then critical, the bunt.
Yeah, that's what we nicknamed it because I got double sixes, and it was because I threw a bunt cake. I crashed a bunt cake on a platter on this one guy's head and got critical sixes, so we call it a bunt.
And a lot like the Powered by the Apocalypse game where you'd roll 2d6. In this case, you roll however many d6 you have in your dice pool, and you take the best result of. Unless you get two sixes, then it's a critical. And the
Yeah.
nice thing with that is, it's you're gonna have a failure, a mixed success, which means you got what you wanted, but there was a price. Full
Hmm.
success, which means your player agency is 100% the narrative. And as you were hinting at, the drive points. Each character has points where they can boost themselves when they really want to succeed, or for a slightly cheaper price, boost a friend to have the help a friend mechanic, which I really do like.
And what happens when you get a 6 on a gilded?
And the beautiful thing when you get a 6 on the gilded, you regain one of your spent drive points, which is like one of the big resources your character will use because you constantly want to get those back because those are hard to get back unless the gilded dice give them back to you.
Because that, I mean, so it's really exciting when you get to use a gilded on the off chance that you get to restore.
Hmm. And one thing I like with the playbooks is they are very role based instead of class based. So it's like you've got two different types of investigators, whether it's, the police investigator or the news reporter. You've got, you
Yeah,
know, two
like
different
there's
types of weird, like the medium
exactly what
and
I was going
and
to
the
mention.
and the mage.
Yeah, so you have I'm the medium,
Mhm.
but mom play my 80-year-old mother plays uh a magic a wizard, a mage basically. She's really
Exactly.
dark.
And as you would put it, do you think the system is crunchy when it comes to rules, or is it rules light?
um well, I think if you've never done something like it before, it can be a little, I wouldn't say crunchy, confusing.
Mhm.
But once you get the basics, it's uh kind of smooth. It's not that crunchy
Mhm.
because since it's very like story driven, and oh, I would like to do this. It makes it more, I don't know, I would say accessible, I think.
Mhm.
It's like
And
if
one
you can imagine it, you can try and do it as long as your dice agree with you.
mhm. And like I've talked to a lot of players when I'm teaching Power by the Apocalypse or like other verse and games that use this kind of mechanic where you share the spotlight rather than hard rigid initiative systems where it's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I want to do a thing. Do it. Go for it."
Yeah.
So like holding an action is not really a thing of the player agency is to the roof. It's all
Hmm.
about the you have the creative freedom to do what you want. It may not work out, but you can do it. That's where
Yep.
the dice system comes into play. So I would have to ask Kelly for Candela Obscura, how does the game encourage role playing?
Well, I would say because you're playing a character type, and I mean, it's like since it's very you don't have like stats on a sheet. This is my charisma. This is my, it doesn't have anything like that. It has, oh, you know what? I have some sway, I've got a little bit in sway. Or no, hey, my bread and butter is in focus.
Hmm.
So along those lines, so it it forces you, I would think, to think, well, in this situation, what would my character do? How can I use one of these items to affect the situation? And of course, depending on whether the GM approves, because Well, players are always trying to push the boundaries. Well, even in D&D and stuff, it's like, well, can I use dexterity for that instead? Or
Mhm.
um if you can give a good enough argument, depending. I mean, although it's much more structured for like D&D, but like say for Star Wars or for
Mhm.
as long as it's not been too gross, it's a little more loose
Yeah, it's
with
very
this.
got loosey goosey with the
Mhm.
here's how I'm gonna totally use sway to do this thing. I'm gonna convince the crowds to move out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, there's still like, yeah, no, you can't use sway to do hitting,
Mhm.
that type of thing. But it you have to think, well, what would how can I use this in this situation? And I think that provides a story. It lends more to storytelling than I'm just going to roll the die and hit the ghost,
Mhm. What one
you
mechanic
know?
I really do love in this that Blades in the Dark shares with them is the equipment section. The mere fact that you don't force your
Oh,
players
yeah.
to sit down and have a shopping episode, you hit the floor running on your investigation, and then when they need something, they can check off a box saying, "Yes, I did bring my stick of dynamite."
Uh-huh. That's
Mhm.
nice. I mean, my character always carries some type of bleed containment, the bleed because her shtick is crystals, you
Mhm.
know. She uses crystals so she can detect bleed through her crystals. That type of stuff because she's a medium. She's like using,
Mhm.
and she uses crystals to help her. But that little blank spot, like, oh yeah, wait a minute, no, I brought this. Especially if all your character or your players leave that blank up until, hey, I need something.
Uh-huh.
You can actually you and it's great because you're not like, oh damn, I didn't learn that spell, or oh damn, my encumbrance was too high so I couldn't do this, so I
Mhm.
had to leave something home. uh it gives more play. However, my baked goods that I bring, my character is a mom and she always has some type of baked goods on her and they vary. That is never one of the options because I'm always carrying something.
And that's one that I do like with the player immersion is like you mentioned the bleed detector, which is a device, air
Mhm,
quote device, that allows you to detect the corruptive energies. And I love how it leaves it open that each different player can pick a different thing. Like you had your crystal that you look through
mhm,
and you see the taint of bleed there. Other people's had a monocle or a light that when
uh-huh,
you flash the lantern, bleed glows, whether it's a creature or a footprint or corruption eating into the walls. That way,
yeah,
everybody got to have their own mystical or steampunk angle to it.
yeah, very much
So,
so.
so
It
slipping.
customizes it.
Mhm.
And like for me, it provides, you know, my character has an emotional connection
Mhm.
to them, so it's like so one of the things that my character has the ability to do is I can give like an aid to to boost something for them. And the way my character does it is she gives one of the teammates a crystal on a chain to wear for that,
Mhm. For
okay,
that
all right,
ability.
Vic's gonna get my boost crystal for
Mhm.
this session. And but then it's part of her. It's her, how she does things. Whereas mom, she does the more dark, doesn't she's got like the
Her
athame
athame that she's constantly
and
bloodletting with.
the staff that the creepy staff with the bird on it. Crystal, I mean, it's like, okay, you know, she's very much, into that where, so it's funny. And of course her character's name is Bloody Mary.
Uh-huh.
But but of course mine is Tourmaline. But yeah, so I mean it's uh all about your character and how you see it.
And the nice thing is the city is so diverse and there's people from different cultures and things. Players can pretty much come up with any concept they want to and it fits in the setting, which is nice.
Hmm.
One thing I will say, kind of phasing into the GM experience, one thing I know that a lot of new GMs had a problem with is this is a zero prep game for the most part. I mean, you can put, like in all RPGs, as much prep work as you want, and your players will probably not see any of that work because as soon as the players hit the street, it's gone. But with Candela Obscura, it's very light on the GM workload, which is nice. It's a lot of the Power by the Apocalypse games are like that because it's more the GM will ask questions and the dice will give the answers to the story. So one
Hmm.
nice thing that kind of freaked out a lot of people when they looked at the book, and if you hadn't played Blades in the Dark, which is why I would say that one kind of leads into this one, is there's no monster manual like in D&D that we've been, raised on where you flip to page so and so and here's the stat sheet for these monsters. The monsters are basically a simple paragraph or two description of what the creature is, and it's purposely left vague because, well, just because it was written down in a book that that's what this creature is, it might not be that. It could be
Mm.
something totally different.
And I find that interesting because since basically the circles are investigating,
Mhm.
they are investigating situations of, of a cult and whatnot, and protecting the populace and making sure that bad stuff doesn't fall into evil hands.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of funny that it's not a lot of prep work compared to other game systems. I find that interesting because, of course, I think back to, oh, well, we're asking all these questions and we're like, oh, it's like, and here now I'm thought, oh God, he must have put so much work into this, but you're coming it up with on the fly, aren't you?
Uh, a lot of times I am like, those first two cases the Circle of Veritas did. Those were totally, I threw stuff out there and saw how you guys picked up on it, and that's how the case just rolled. I knew the who, the what creepy thing, and the where was going to be the initiating investigation, and it makes it easy of just having you guys roll with it
Well, I
because.
know that, the names,
Mhm.
coming up with the names on the fly.
Oh,
And you're
that
really good at
That is
that.
one thing I love from old school Power by the Apocalypse games. They used to always have in every, whether it was like Urban Shadows or any of the Magpie game ones like Avatar or Zombie World, they have a GM sheet with like a dozen different names for different situations, and you just scribble them out as you use them because names are hard. But one thing with like I was saying, with the adversary design, the big bads, is they don't say vampire does bleed free when you bite. It basically leaves up to the player when the creature attacks them or they attack the creature. What was their dice roll? The dice roll will
Mhm.
tell you whether they took a glancing hit, whether they took a horrible gut wrenching wound, or if they manage to subdue the creature in one roll, which can happen. It's ridiculously scary, but it can happen. So they don't get into the minutia like in Call of Cthulhu, where they'll have like a full page breakdown of the creature and what it does. It just has a paragraph saying it's this, it lives in this environment, and it's rumored to have these abilities. So it gives the GM the fun to play on expectations.
Very cool.
And of course, a lot of the adversaries in this book are super creepy. They take like the standard Cthulhu mythos and they kind of twist on it a lot, which is great because it's familiar creep, but not something you can guess right out of the gate. And that's kind of the big thing with the investigations is you need to figure out the abilities of the things. Like, is this a creature that jumps into mirrors? Is this a creature that burrows into corpses and then animates them?
Ew.
I mean, I'm not saying exactly what the newest case that we're working on is, but it'd be something creepy. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Uh, my character's already creeped the fuck out. I am so not happy that I communed with the entity because now my character is pretty scared shitless.
I mean, and that just went to show how the dice rolls went of you succeeded, but there was a cost. The cost
Yeah,
was the creature got to ask you questions back.
and of course I can't lie, so it has my name, my
Hmm.
full name.
Yep.
It, that's not good. That's
And
so
and
not
again,
good.
this is one of those RPGs where I do love the game mechanics in like the GM will not lie to the players. When they ask and succeed in a roll, I will give you the 100% true every time, and the players will do the same back to the GM, which is which is why I consider Powered by the Apocalypse and Candela Obscura like one of those higher ranking RPGs where it's there's a lot more trust at the table.
Yeah. So, I mean, would you say that it's an easy, I mean, as a GM, would you say that this is an easy uh format or RPG to run
I would
or
say it's definitely an easy format. The book, in such a short chapter, gives you the here are the 5 story beats of an investigation, and they literally break down a 5-act story into an investigation. And if you've seen any Scooby Doo episode, you can literally see the 5-act play out watching an episode of Scooby Doo. Only,
and now I
this
have that
is a
song
little
running
more
through my
serious.
head. Thank you very much.
Ruby, Ruby, Roo.
Where are you?
So I will definitely
Uh,
say it is easier than a D&D game. Definitely easier than a Call of Cthulhu game, and on par with Blades in the Dark because it really is the illuminated system is very close to the dagger system. I mean, and
well,
they even
now,
attribute one to the other.
now, since you brought up the Call of Cthulhu and Blades in the Dark again, how do you think this compares for like pacing? Like, does it support like a horror pacing?
I think it does support the horror pacing, especially if you follow the 5 story beats with
Hmm.
the escalation 1, escalation 2, so that way you get that classic murder mystery feel of if the group's not being proactive, a body hits the floor. And then you'll find
Yep.
some more clues. So if you're not, being proactive investigators, the world it reminds GMs that the world needs to keep moving. So if
Hmm.
the group are deciding to have a shopping montage at the local tea shop, well, another body just hit the floor and the cops are out there and there's police tape everywhere.
And if you think about it, since sessions like our sessions tend to be 3 hours or less,
Mhm.
depending on how much pre-game talk we've got, that it's like when you end that session, it's like a cliffhanger too. It's like, oh,
In,
sometimes
in,
you're
in,
right on the
cla-
cusp of something, and it's
Mhm. In classic murder mystery style, you want to have that cliffhanger to get everybody back to the table next time.
I know, right? Like the last one, my character's like in a state of horror right now for like, oh my god, it knows my name. It's coming after me. After just learning that, it's on this blood debt for a family. And I'm like, my name in a family. My character has kids, man. Lots of kids.
And now
I've
you
got
are
lots
well
of
known
aunts.
to it.
Lots of kids.
It has another
So it's
name in its
like,
little book and it put a line through you twice.
oh. So it's like, yeah, my character's scared.
Mhm.
Scared.
Don't be scared. I will
I'm gonna be
definitely
brave.
see the Candela Obscura system and the setting is got great strength when it comes to aesthetic identity. Your players can play any steampunk, industrial, Victorian, post-war feel. The characters look at Carrie with Vic. She's
Yeah,
totally turning down the soldier with the PTSD with her soldier.
yeah.
I mean, she even decided that Vic lives at the old soldiers' home.
I think didn't she say she did?
Yeah,
I'll have
yeah,
to
that's
double
where that's
check.
where she lives. That's why we always find
Yeah.
her there with her wife beater on, probably passed out from drinking.
No,
and
she's
and
a
I
little more
and I
dignified
do
than that.
love, yeah, that it uses the power by the apocalypse streamlined rules. So instead of every minute action being a skill check, it's a I run into some bad guys in the alley. Let's roll one dice roll for the entire scene. And then you
Hmm.
get to play out
And
a
then, oh, you won. Explain. I mean, tell me how you did it.
just describe how you took out those four ne'er-do-wells in the alleyway.
Hmm.
Or you have a mixed success.
Cinematic time.
Yep, you took them out, but oh, one of the guys cut your shoulder pretty bad. You're walking around with a fresh war wound on you in the alleyways.
Yeah. But that leads into the fact that it is a very excellent, for story forward
Hmm.
groups.
And then, it's totally funny when some of the stories pull the group in a different direction where they're like, we have to solve this mystery. No, no, guys, that's not the mystery of the day. That's the bigger season wide mystery that we're talking about. Because just to steal a little from the Buffy writing style, the Candela Obscura totally plays into that whole you can have a season big bad, but investigations of the a season are
You
chopped
have to
up
have the
into little,
monster of the week.
very monster of the week.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, just to be, fair and constructive, if you are a tactical player who likes to do, the I will say the Pathfinder player who wants to chart out your character 15 levels in advance to know all the talents you need, this will probably not be your cup of tea because it is more story first. The narrative and fiction trump the rules. Whereas,
Yeah.
a lot of tactical players will like the character sheet to define the character, and then they throw a little RP in there.
Yeah, not exactly ideal for a combat focused player.
Hmm. And one we have discovered when it comes to your circle, which is the group, you have a character sheet for the group.
Hmm.
And I will admit the game is a little light on long-term advancement because it does take a bit to air quote level up. But when you
Hmm.
do level up, it does give you a lot of options, whether it's to take more of your group's abilities.
Jim,
Yeah, can you hear me?
we lost you.
You lost me? Can you hear me now?
Lost you for a sec.
Okay. That that, depending on your playbook, you can take a new ability in the playbook so you're fleshing it out. You can take an ability from another playbook to really flesh your character out if you want to pick a little on the criminal versus being the investigator, which is nice. Or you can bump up your stats, which is a good one. Because as we've learned in the game, as you take scars, which are permanent debilitating aspects of your character, sort of like the fate system, where you take a brief little sentence saying crumpled leg or oddly color changing scar, that you define something that changes your character, which will give you a negative in one ability but a plus in another ability, so you're learning to overcome your deficit, which is nice. So you're not constantly being crippled down to nothing. You're actually balancing your character sheet out a little differently.
Yep.
So I guess that leads us on to, since we've hit the 30-minute mark, your final verdict. Kelly, would you play or run in Candela Obscura again?
I would definitely play this game again.
Good, because
I'm
we have a
still playing
session
it.
Sunday. Now, who would you recommend Candela Obscura to?
Well, obviously people who like horror, because I mean, uh, you can make it, light horror or heavy horror type of thing. And those who like a more narrative first, players who like the storytelling kind of type of thing. And of course, if you're a Critical Role fan, I mean, hello. Uh, gee, but that's who I would say it was for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And if you're a player that likes player agency to be able to have that creative control and roll with it, this is a great game for that because you can try anything, and if you succeed, some bizarre way it all worked out exactly as you wanted to have happen. I mean, if not, well, then consequences happen, but that's okay because that's why we ask the dice these questions.
Yep.
So if you like collaborative horror storytelling with a strong vibe, but with very light game mechanics, I would say Candela Obscura is definitely a good RPG for you, if not an obsession.
Which is funny because, of course, obsession is very much part of the game.
And I know there on social media and stuff, there's some people that have poo-pooed the system just because it's not codified. And that's one of the nicest things with Candela Obscura is it's really not codified. It's meant to give you wiggle room so players can write the characters they want and you can play the stories that you want rather than be pigeonholed into
Yeah.
one specific
I
type
mean,
of setting.
I would give it like definitely an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, one thing that I would like maybe is make it a little have other ways to gain back drive. It's really
Hmm.
hard to gain back drive.
Yeah, drive is so
So,
difficult to get
and
back.
that can be very frustrating for people. That's why I
Hmm.
said like an 8, because, gaining back that drive is not as easy. But
I
other than
mean,
that, I like it. I mean,
it's
it's
great
I
when
would
you have
highly
that drive
recommend.
and your resistance, but when you run
Hmm.
out, oh, shit gets tight.
Exactly.
People start using that gilded dice just to use that gilded dice to earn back drive because there's no other way to get it back.
Yeah.
And most
I
people only
mean,
have like 3 to 4 drive in any one category.
yeah, and when you're rolling only so many uh without taking drive from other people,
Hmm.
uh like 3
Yep.
dice, one would be gilded, it makes it hard. So I mean, some characters do have the ability to gain back drive, like Vic,
Hmm.
Harry's character. I think hitting some type
Yeah.
of violence gives
So,
her
some sort of
drive
incited
back.
violence.
But for like my character, there is no mechanic for my character.
Mhm. Now remember, you do have for your circle, the group
Yeah,
resource, you
but
have
that's
that
the
cool
circle.
ability that if 2 people are helping each other with drive and they fail, you both get a drive back, which is super nice.
Yeah,
That's a super powerful ability. That's totally
but
why I
that's the
recommended that
circle.
one to you. Yeah, that's for the
Yeah,
circle.
yeah, not my character though.
Yeah, so
And
it makes
unfortunately, I've been
people.
taking a lot of bleed.
Well, that's because you've been messing with supernatural stuff.
I've been led, my character can answer the question when you look into the abyss. Does the abyss look back? Yes, yes, it does.
It
It
looks back and it
certainly
gets your
does.
address.
Yeah,
So we would definitely give Candela Obscura a solid 8.5 out of 10. Does that sound right?
yeah.
Okay, because I can totally agree with that. Because I'm a fan of any GM game that doesn't make the GM have to spend 3 days prepping. And the fact that I can just leave obscure creature abilities to the fact that my player just rolled amazing about this creature, and I look and say, so, what is the weakness you know about this creature? And let the player create the weakness, which is great. When the first cocks crow in the morning of the first beams of light, the creature will turn to stone. That explains why the graveyard's full of so many creepy statues.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, you got anything else to throw out there for Candela Obscura and why everybody should be going to Darrington Press and playing this?
Nothing beyond. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. It's super great for one-shots as well. I will totally throw it out there. Any Powered by the Apocalypse style game is great for one-shots, whether it's Monster of the Week or Avatar or Candela Obscura, so you can just throw character sheets down and hit the floor running and ask questions about your character as you go. And I will throw it out there that Candela Obscura has a great character sheet set up in Roll20. Whether you purchase the pre-built or you just use the character sheets, it is really nice in Roll20 because it gives you access to the exact character sheet, which is nice. And we're gonna totally be following up by a super secret bonus episode about the newest expansion book for Candela Obscura, which even I have not finished reading through because it's like a whopping 200 and some odd pages.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they heard when everybody's like, there's not enough, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, it's a small book. It's meant to be, Powered by the Apocalypse size. It's not supposed to be a Dungeon Master's Guide, Player's Handbook, and a Monster Manual. It's supposed to be something you can pick up for, a few bucks and get to play with your friends real quick. So definitely keep an eye on the Creative Playing Podcast Network because we still have another case that we're investigating before we switch to a different campaign for 2026. And thank you for listening, guys.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Circle of Veritas, a Candela Obscura Real Play podcast by the Creative Play and Podcast Network. For more mysteries and adventures, follow us wherever you listen to podcasts and Patreon. Even in darkness, truth casts a light.